Korea meets Australia in a special exhibition that is being held until July 17th. And the man who put it together is Professor Colin Rhodes. He's a master of outsider art and is also the dean of the Sydney College of the Arts. And he joins us this morning. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us the reason that you're here? Obviously, is that exhibition that is happening right now?
Yes, it's the major reason was to come for the exhibition, which is in the Kunstdok Gallery, and it's a show that I'm sharing with my friend and colleague Yoon Jin Sup. We're both writers, curators, and artists. And this is an excellent opportunity for the two of us to come together and bring together our own idiosyncratic views of the world in a contemporary show right in the heart of the gallery district in that part of Seoul.
That's right. So you've been active in the field of this art form called the outsider art, right?
That's right. It's something that I've been interested in for a long time, and this is work that is made by artists who operate outside the mainstream art world, which of course might seem a little bit odd for the dean of an art school and someone who is a graduate of an art school to be interested in work that comes from outside the art world. It's made by people who are self-taught. It's made by people who have no real contact with the art world, and yet it's work which has a spontaneity and a strength and a sort of an immediate visual communication, which often is just amazingly powerful. And I think, ironically, speaks most powerfully often to artists who are trained. So it's an area that really grew as a discipline, I suppose, in the 1940s in Europe. And really out of surrealism and the work of the French artist Jean Dubuffet.
So how did the first time that you collaborated with Korean artists, how did that whole experience materialize? Were you interested in Korean art from before? Were you familiar with it?
Yes, I mean, much less than I am now. But it was one of those things that we at Sydney College of the Arts have always had a number of Korean students coming to study with us. So that sense of having Korean students within the university and making work and looking at some of the similarities and differences between the attitude towards making and the attitudes towards media was something that is very interesting. So when I had the opportunity to come to Seoul for the first time, which was only about 4 years ago, it was with an excitement of bringing those things that I'd seen in Sydney, those things that I'd seen in Australia, and really wanting to do things and make relationships that would allow us to sort of share in a more real way the connections that we have between our two countries, and both the similarities and I think the differences.
And as a professor, when you look at Korean art and when you look at the art of Australia, from the indigenous art to the modern art, contemporary, and also Korean from the ancient to traditional and the modern and the contemporary, are there commonalities that you see between the arts of the two countries? I think
in Korean contemporary art and Australian contemporary art, there are great commonalities in the sense of an embrace of what I would call the vernacular, an embrace of the here and now, the everyday, and its transformation in art into speaking about common experience and common cultural experience. Of course, then some of the differences are the differences of perhaps living and working in Korea. Just the sights and the sounds of Seoul are quite different to the sights and the sounds of Sydney. And I know myself in the last couple of days, I've been going around with my iPhone and taking photographs of what are probably very, very common and ordinary things in Korea. And in Sydney, I see Korean artists doing the same sort of thing. You know, and I'm finding the extraordinary in the ordinary, I think, is something that is very common in contemporary art.
I think you really got my attention when you said being able to take the ordinary and seeing something extraordinary, or presenting something extraordinary from something ordinary. Can we expect to see that in your exhibition?
I think so. Most of my work the work that I'm showing is really based in the beginning on newspaper photographs and magazine photographs. So very ordinary workaday things and very sort of throwaway things. and then I work into them. And work into them in ways which are somewhat surrealist, I suppose, a sort of an automatic technique, but bringing out the strange and the uncanny in what are otherwise very ordinary images, and turning them into, I think, extraordinary things. And well, I hope people will like them.
And I'm sure people will be able to see all that and much more at your exhibition, which is going on until July 17th.
That's right. I do hope people will enjoy it.
All right, Professor, thank you for joining us.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.